maybe you want to set the scene.
Yeah, I took a little social media cleanse last week and completely missed the fact that one of our clips with Tiffany went viral. So if you guys have not listened to last week's BA Q&A, we talk about online mentorship communities and are they scams? Are they not as scams? And Tiffany's take, damn, 150 something comments.
I know.
How many views? Like 60 something thousand views?
Almost 70,000 views. I was like,
Dust you touch a nerve. We touched a tiny nerve.
I know.
Why do you think people are, what's the feedback mostly been like? It seemed like people were like, hell yeah, speak on it.
Yes, that's really been, I think, because we are entering into like this strange space where everybody is teaching. Which there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. If you have some knowledge, teach it. That's great. But some people are not credible. If I'm going to be all the way honest, like they're not positioned to be the teacher because there's just a lack of experience, a lack of knowledge, a lack of maybe certification, whatever. So you don't need all those things for every single thing, but there's certain things you do. Like example, I would want my doctor to be certified, like I want him to be like to have his doctorate degree. He should do that. But I follow one of my favorite skincare gurus. Her name is Felicia, That Beauty on Insta. Tell Felicia, say, hey girl, she's from Newark too. But I love Felicia. Felicia's a woman of a certain age, okay? And she's got beautiful skin. Felicia is not an esthetician. She's just beautiful Black girl that tries these different products and services and then reports back. She doesn't say, I'm an esthetician. She's like, I tried this. This is what it did for my skin. My skin tends to be this. It's, but I'm okay with that. I don't need Felicia to have gone to skin school, because that's not what she's purporting. She's just like, I'm a Black girl who loves skin stuff. I try all the things so you don't have to. This is what worked for me, what didn't work for you. Use that how you will. And so I think Mandi and I were on the same page in that we're not saying that you can't teach unless ... But there are some instances where we have seen people are teaching and we're like, really? Okay. I'm confused about where that knowledge came from. I teased Mandi earlier pre podcast taping chat. I was like, it's like, 19-year-old Mandi's like, I just graduated college and now I'm going to be, a career coach. Meanwhile, that Mandi had not had a career yet. So where is that knowledge coming from? That doesn't make sense. But now you've got seasoned, still young Mandi, but she's had a number of careers, a number of jobs, a number of twists and turns that allows her through that experience to share from that place. And now she's like the number one career coach. If I do say so myself, and I do say so.
According to Tiffany, that's in the fine print.
But Mandi, what do you think about it? Because like, if you look at that clip on IG, it's like, I don't think I'm being super sassy or anything.
No, I think not at all. I mean, I agree with fundamentally what you're saying, the fact that, but I think what our key message is that it's as consumers, our listeners, if you're out there, and the thing is, there are a lot of people offering their expertise now and offering, yes, we see courses, you see communities, you have like, subscription-based services where they are coaching you or educating you in some way, or maybe it's just a one-time thing, pay for this download, where in this download, I'll give you a worksheet or, a step-by-step guide or something like that. I think we really, really, our core message is to be really careful as you shop online and to look for credibility, look for where does this authority coming from? Where, like the key things you should ask, first of all, I think it's on creators like our, educators, on us to really share our story and to share where our source of knowledge comes from and give people all the information. So if you don't think after you've read everything about me and my career that I'm the person for you, that's okay. That's why I am like a hella transparent with who I am, my story, my experience. And over the course of the past year, becoming obsessed with my ideal client and who am I most beneficial for, so that I can really target, that consumer, and the rest of people won't be interested in working with me and I'm not the right fit for them. You know what I mean? So I think educators need to be really specific and honest with who they are. And as consumers, we have to be, we can't believe in like this Messiah complex that there's one person who's got all the answers and they're going to solve all my problems. Like, be realistic about what it is that you are, whether you're deciding to buy a course or download something what is the person advertising that it's going to be, and what's your expectation going in, and then what's their proof? Like, where are the testimonials
Yes.
at? Where's the proof of
Yes.
excellence? Are they being
Yes.
quoted anywhere? Have they written a book? What does it say about on their about page? Actually verify that the person is being honest about their background. Like,
Yeah.
there are people out there, and it's not even that they don't have the experience. It's that people, like, maybe they're positioning themselves in a way to make people think that they are an expert in something. And the reality is that they're not. And
Yeah.
like, those people end up purchasing something or subscribing to something. And then they're like, wait a second, I'm not getting what I thought I was going to get out of this. At that point, it's like that gray area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a scam? Or is it
Mm.
like, were you maybe expecting something that they didn't actually advertise, or they just didn't fill in some gaps and you did it yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up in a situation where you weren't actually happy with what you got? It's messy.
It is, because here's the thing, right? So on the surface, you could easily say like, oh, well, like, for example, I believe that if you are coaching in business, you ought to have had a business outside of this coaching, like before you coach me in business, whatever that looks like. Maybe you were coaching in retail before, which is fine, but not that the only business you have is coaching in business and that's what you're doing. And that's the only job you've ever had, right? Because then it's just like this weird loop of like, well, what came first, the chicken or the egg, your experience, or you only got experience because you practiced on me. So that's one. I was talking to my mentee last night and she was like, well, I could tell she was struggling with it, like, because she coaches. And she was like, well, not all football coaches were like in the NFL, like NFL coaches. I'm like, yeah, but they all played football. Meaning, I'm not saying they played football professionally, but if you've never picked up a football ever in your life, you have never thrown one. You've never, where does that, you're coaching from what space? You don't know how the game is played. You don't know how the ball feels. You don't know, like coaches don't have to, that kind of coach, it's not required that you were in the NFL, but at some point you had to have at least played football. You know what I mean? Even just recreationally, because there's some nuance that you gather from the experience. That's not the same for all things. Like my therapist, before she was my therapist, she was a coach for me. Now, here's the thing. When she was my coach, did she need to be a therapist? No. So like a personal coach to me does not necessarily have to have a doctorate. Like Dr. Green is a doctor. She does not necessarily have to have a doctorate, because I've had personal coaches before. They didn't have their degree in psychology. That was an added bonus. But as a personal coach, that wasn't a requirement for me. But then when I was looking for a therapist, it absolutely was a requirement that this person is certified as a therapist. So do you see that
Yeah.
it's not all the way across the board where it's like, no, 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 no. You absolutely have to have these things in order to be able to teach a thing. I think it's really nuanced. And I heard someone say like, yeah, because if someone's not doing better than me, they can't coach. And I disagree with that too. I was giving you the example earlier, Mandy, of my friend Cabral, his mother, Miss Denise. Cabral's mother, her parents started an eyeglass store called Elegant Eyes, and it's based here in Newark. And they have been through the riots. They have been here. I mean, over 60 years, I believe Elegant Eyes has been in business. So from grandparents, parents to now Cabral and his sister. And now, I mean, if I'm being candid, I probably have made more money, in my business than maybe than the eyeglass store has made, right? But there's no way that one of my number one go-to people when I'm needing like business acumen is Cabral. And his mother knows even more because she has been in business for like 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, not only has she had Elegant Eyes, at one point she owned an IHOP. At one point, she owned a Jamaican restaurant. At one point, she owned an apartment complex. I mean, Miss Denise is so well. I remember asking Cabral, because she's so chill and laid back. Not like everybody now, everybody got to be on social, myself included. But
Yeah.
that old school, they just did it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, Cabral, can your mom be my mentor? He was like, what? Miss Denise was like, girl, what you talking about? Because, but I mean, she is a wealth of knowledge, despite on the surface, it might look like, well, Tiffany, you've made such and such. No, 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 no. I cannot hold a candle to her level of knowledge, because there are some mentors that to me require a deeper level of experience in order, because business is so nuanced. It's not something that you can do on the sidelines and then tell somebody about. You have to be in it. And so, yeah, so me and Mandy were just talking about like, like what is, when you're looking, if the onus is not just on like the people that teach, but also those of you that buy, making sure that you're mindful of like, what is it that you need from your coach? What level of experience are you needing? Asking those questions. Are you even ready for coaching? If you're spending $10,000, $20,000, which if that's how much it costs, that's how much it costs. I'm not here to shame if a coach charges a lot of money, but are you even in position? I didn't start paying that kind of money until my business was almost 8 figures,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, because sometimes I see people will complain about a coach, but that's just because they weren't ready for the coaching just yet. They had not done enough footwork to know the questions to ask and what work to do.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, even through creating Mandi Moneymakers, like the 99.9% of the women who come through, and that's the reason I like have an application phase, and I actually have one-on-ones with women, a lot of women before they officially enroll, because I don't want, in my program's only a few $100, that's where it starts at. And I mean, that's a lot of money. I'm not trying to diminish that, but it doesn't make me feel good to know that someone has come through my community and not understood my vision, not gotten on board with, I want women who are going to be talking to each other. It's not meant to be an individual experience, like an online course where you just download it and do it on your own time. It's meant to be, engaging with other women and supporting other women. So like, I just want everyone to understand that. But even so, I welcome the one time in the past 3 cohorts and like 60 women who've gone through my program. One woman was like, hey, I've done a couple of classes. I just don't think I'm ready for this at this point, and I'm going to bow out. And I took that as a learning moment for me. And I'm like, okay, is my messaging on par? This happened to be a woman who I didn't do a one-on-one before. And I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm doing more one-on-ones. Okay. It's not like those situations are never going to happen. But again, I feel like as educators, it's like, so how are we making sure that our right customer, our right client can find us? And if we're not for them, they can find, someone who is. And yeah, I feel a real deep sense of responsibility. Also, I don't want, getting back to Tiffany, that I'm out here in these streets, like, y'all are going to tell on me because too many people know you.
I'm hoping that viral clip, no one has reached out to me to be mad, but I'm sure there are people who are like, this damn Tiffany. She, what do people say? Like, back in the day when I was in college, guys used to say I was a cock blocker because I was a girlfriend. Like if my friend was drinking or whatever, I didn't drink. Yeah. If my friend was drinking and she was like, I'm going to go home with random over here. I'm like, you're not. Sis, you're not going home with whatever his name is. We're going back to the dorm, and I'm going to be able to tell your mother I put you to bed and back in. And they'd be like, oh, she's such a hater. I'm like, I'm sorry, I won't let you accost my friend. And so can you imagine? So I'm like, savior. So if someone's mad, don't be mad that I won't let you accost our beautiful Black and brown audience that like, now. I'll take it. I'll be a cash blocker.
Any professional who can't engage in like an intelligent debate or conversation discourse about your profession and how to like improve it, and how bad actors, how to tell apart bad actors, and like that to me is a red flag. It shouldn't, like, for me as a coach, it doesn't make me feel any kind of way that we're being critical of other coaches and people who sell services. I think it makes us better, and it helps build trust with our communities, which is what everyone should be out there doing, building that trust and doing the damn work so that you deserve that trust at the end of the day, right?
Hey, BA fam, we're on YouTube. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
And while you're at it, why don't you go over to that little bell icon and just tap that for us. Show the BA fam how much you love us. And that way you'll also get notifications when new videos drop. Also, share the channel with a friend. We're always like, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And thank y'all so much again for all the support.